Key items. Typical pitfalls and critical issues in joint venture agreements can include misalignment of goals and objectives, unequal contribution and benefits, lack of clarity in decision-making processes, failure to establish a dispute resolution mechanism, insufficient provisions for intellectual property rights, inadequate exit strategies and termination provisions, lack of financial transparency, failure to anticipate changes in circumstances, inadequate risk allocation and management, insufficient due diligence and research. Misalignment of goals and objectives. If the parties involved in the joint venture have different or conflicting goals and objectives, it can lead to disagreements and hinder the progress of the venture. It is essential to align the goals and objectives of all parties before entering into the agreement. Unequal contribution and benefits. If the contributions and benefits of each party are not clearly defined and balanced, it can create resentment and disputes among the joint venture partners. It is important to establish fair and equitable terms regarding the contribution of resources, expertise, and the distribution of profits and losses. Lack of clarity in decision-making processes. Joint venture agreements should clearly outline the decision-making processes, including the authority and responsibilities of each party. If decision-making authority is not properly defined, it can result in conflicts and delays in executing important decisions. Failure to establish a dispute resolution mechanism. It is crucial to include provisions for resolving disputes within the joint venture agreement. Without a clear dispute resolution mechanism, conflicts and disagreements can escalate and lead to legal disputes that may jeopardize the joint venture's success. Insufficient provisions for intellectual property rights. If the joint venture involves the creation or use of intellectual property, it is important to address ownership, licensing, and protection of intellectual property rights in the agreement. Failing to establish clear provisions for intellectual property can lead to disputes and legal complications. Inadequate exit strategies and termination provisions. Joint venture agreements should include provisions that address the exit strategies and conditions for termination of the venture. Failing to establish proper exit mechanisms can make it difficult for a party to exit the venture or can result in disputes upon termination. Lack of financial transparency. Transparency in financial matters is crucial to maintain trust and accountability in a joint venture. If financial reporting and accountability mechanisms are not clearly defined in the agreement, it can lead to suspicions and disagreements among the partners. Failure to anticipate changes in circumstances. Joint venture agreements should consider the possibility of changes in circumstances, such as changes in market conditions, regulatory environment, or the availability of resources. Failing to anticipate and address such changes can undermine the viability and success of the joint venture. Inadequate risk allocation and management. It is important to clearly define the allocation of risks and responsibilities among the joint venture partners. Failure to properly address risk allocation and management can result in disputes and financial losses. Insufficient due diligence and research. Before entering into a joint venture agreement, it is crucial to conduct thorough due diligence and research on the potential partners and the business opportunity. Inadequate due diligence can result in partnering with unreliable or incompatible parties or investing in a venture with limited potential for success. These are some of the typical pitfalls and critical issues that can arise in joint venture agreements. It is advisable to seek legal and financial advice when negotiating and drafting joint venture agreements to ensure that the interests of all parties are adequately protected and to mitigate the risks associated with the venture.